Hey, this is Danny Collins. I wanted to give you a brief history of our company with Collins Bowling Centers. We started the bowling business in over 60 years ago. My great-grandfather, Phil Checkers, here's a picture of them all, in Miami Beach in 1940s. And it all started when he came from Greece at around the age of 15. He worked in a family grocery store with his brother, and then he and his wife developed movie theaters in Ohio and through the state of Kentucky. They started in the early 1920s. She would play her piano. She would play the piano, and they were, silent movies. So he would take tickets at the door, and they got real good at it and really enjoyed it at a time when our country was doing movie theaters, and that was the primary source of a lot of people's entertainment. They would, go to the movies to watch news, and they would go there to be entertained. So he developed a chain of movie theaters between the years of the 1920s all the way up until the 1970s of about 40 theaters. And that included drive-in theaters. He had one in Winchester, Kentucky. He had some in Frankfort. Those were the ones near Lexington. But then they had a lot of them in Ohio, all across the state. So these were old movie theaters, Checkers theaters. And Frank Collins, my grandfather there in the middle right here, he married Phil Checkers' daughter. And this is Mike Checkers over here, and that's Phil's son. And they worked together in the 1940s in the movie theater business. And they decided in 1960 to get in the bowling business in Lexington. So Brunswick did a market research for them, and they picked Lexington as a primary place to go because the IBM was coming to town, and it was just kind of a really great town for bowling. It needed a bowling center, so they came here and purchased a tract of land on Southland Drive. This is a really cool photo. It shows an old white fence back here, so you can tell this is an old farm. This is actually Southland Drive right here, and there's some of the houses that sit behind Southland Bowling Lanes right now. So that's really cool. Now, in 1959, I don't have as much history on Eastland Lanes other than a few old photos, but I'm really focusing on Southland because that's what this is talking about. They did build Eastland first, and I just don't have as many pictures on it on that. So I'm going to zero in here for you on Southland. Now, here's another picture from Rebel Road across the street where the Arby's is, but this is looking straight at the Bowling Lanes property. Again, a lot of trees there. There's some old construction trailers. There's an old car. It's pretty cool to look at these historic photos. Now here's a newspaper article that was written in 1960, July 31st. Planned for Southland. This architect's drawing shows the front of a bowling establishment to be constructed on Southland Drive near the Nicholasville Pike. A nursery is at the far right. The 40-lane building also will house a cocktail lounge, meeting room for leagues, and a restaurant. So this was a futuristic view of Southland. It looks pretty good. Of course, the ball sign does look a little different, but this was a rendering from the architect and whatnot. Here they are installing that great ball. They're setting it into the prongs, and I'll show you some pictures of this old ball. I've been talking about it the last couple of days because about 10 years ago that ball caught on fire, and I was going to show you some pictures of how this ball was actually clear, and there's lights inside it that light up from the inside out. and they literally had to get up on a crane and change the light bulbs inside of it. And so I think over the years they found that hard to do, so they just painted the ball white. But these are black and white photos. Here's looking at it from underneath. You can see up under here that this is actually a clear ball. It's clear glass, fiberglass, and there was all kinds of lights up in there. When it caught on fire 10 years ago, it came down and we looked at it, and there was actually a little ladder inside on the top. You would unscrew a hatch and somebody would crawl down inside there and change light bulbs. That's kind of wild. Can you imagine doing that today? That's why it caught on fire. It just had a short in there and the thing just toasted up like a marshmallow. Caught on fire. But anyway, back to the history. They opened for business in 1960, advertised free parking, air conditioning, free child care, and cocktail lounge. It was real popular from the day that it opened. The old saying was they just opened the doors and got out of the way, because a lot of people were excited about it coming and they joined leagues. This is a shot from the inside. The overhead scoring was something new at the time with these, they called them tell scores, and they had paper here that was clear, you know, with the wax pencil, and it would show up on here. And these are wooden rails here and stuff. So it was a real nice place, and over the years we've upgraded it, but it's still cool to look at these original ones. There's the snack bar. You may or may not remember the original snack bar, but it still has the posts here. It still has a lot of things, but it was laid out differently. Over here's where we now have the pool tables. There's the door going back, and the layout is very much the same. It hadn't changed a whole lot, but that's the way that the snack bar was laid out. Now, I'll go back to my dad and his father, Frank. This is somewhere in the 1970s. They were really rocking and rolling with the Rebel Room. They had live bands in there all the time, and I could go into a whole presentation and reminisce about all the old bands they had in there, but they had some big names, and so that was exciting times in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, because that was a big part of the business. Aside from the bowling was just this lounge, and you can see these curtains here where where Jim Dunn's Pro Shop is. That was kind of the backstage where the bands would hang out, and they'd go in there and relax, and then they'd get out on their stage. I don't have any interior photos of the place then, but it was pretty cool. I think they had, inside the lounge, I was told they had fish tanks, like swimming pool type things on the ground. Underneath the rock wall, they had, fish ponds in there and stuff. But they've changed that over the years because I think it got kind of hard to maintain. Here's a shot from inside, promoting some summer leagues in 1965. You know, they gave away a car. They gave away two 1965 Comets. That was the first place prize. And, they gave out color TVs, and I can't read the rest of these, but they had a way of giving away prizes and things, and they filled up the leagues at 6 o'clock. There was 40 lanes all week, and then even at 9 o'clock they had a double shift. And during the mornings they had ladies bowling, and they offered free child care. They offered free bowling lessons for all the ladies, because back then none of the women worked. They just wanted to be housewives, and so they came out and bowled. So we entertained them. You know, times change, but there's still a lot of people that like to bowl, and this is just how they did it back in the old days. Today, we're looking at it, and sooner or later you can find yourself joining a league and having more fun, because this is a current shot of guys and girls and everybody out here having a good time. And so this video, the purpose of it is just to kind of show you the history of how Collins Bowling Centers has been in the community for a long time here in Lexington. And you don't have to be a serious bowler to have fun like this big group is doing. You can see all of them kind of posing under the sign, and a lot of people enjoy bowling just for the camaraderie of it and getting together for a great time. It's a unique thing to do. It's certainly not boring, and it's something that everybody can do. We have you might notice all the sensations in the lights, music, and fun during cosmic bowling. It's when we turn off all the lights and it turns black, we've got the things that glow, and I'm sure you have maybe been here when this is going on. It's a unique format that we got into around 2001 is when we put it in, because I remember when we installed it, it was the week of the tragedy of 9/11. I remember we put all these lights and sound, everything in here, and then 911 hit, and the place, it was just a bad time. But this evolved not from that, but in that same era, and we've continued to maintain it and upgrade it and keep things going. You can spend time with your friends because everyone loves to bowl. That's a understatement, because that's the truth. Everybody can do it, and it attracts large groups, and it gives everybody a reason and an excuse to come together during the bowling times. I'm going to turn my sound off because this thing dings whenever I get a text through my phone and whatever, so hopefully I won't get any more of those. You might want to order up one of these made-to-order personal pizzas while you bowl. We invested in a pizza oven system that we create our own homemade pizza, and it works really well. So we can crank those out really quickly, and those are personal sized. We do large ones too, and they're really tasty. So get yourself some pizza while you're out here. What happens when your team gets cool bowling shirts? These guys really went all out, and they had a good time with it. I think this is a particular bowling event. It might be a bowling league, but these guys have a good time, and they really enjoy it. You might notice it feels great to go out with your friends enjoying bowling at Southland Lanes, which was established in 1960. It's been here a long time, and everybody has a great time. And they like to pose for pictures because it's an action time, and it's fun to do. So people can, create lasting memories with their kids bowling at Southland Lanes. And it's just a perfect place to bring your kids out. If you're a big brother, big sister, that's always a good thing. Bring your nieces and nephews, bring your grandkids, bring your own children. And maybe you haven't joined a league yet. You might want to go bowling with your friends or join a league now. You're able to find everything you need right here on our website at collinsbowling.com. And we will see you on the lanes and look forward to hosting your next get-together, party, or league, or birthday party, whatever you might think you want to do. We're here for you. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you out here.